Hey there, ghosts and other viewers. Bone Frog here doing another Breakpoint beta video. This time I want to take a bit of a look at Gunsmith and specifically um, bullet drop, muzzle speed, and just how Gunsmith works. In general, I'm going to start by saying I am not overly impressed. Um, the the, uh, the devs promised us, just gonna put it out there, solid, more robust, more realistic, and realistic muzzle velocities. And I'm not sure that we got most of that. Um, right now, I have in my hands a 416. I'm shooting out to that mark there, which is at the top of those rocks, about 300. Yeah, 300. You see now about 379 meters away. Okay, the 416 has a muzzle velocity. The 416 or an M4, doesn't matter which. They both have basically the same barrels. They both have basically the same muzzle velocity, which is roughly 950 meters per second. That's the speed at which the bullet will exit the muzzle, which means it should make that distance in under half a second. And well, honestly, it should shoot pretty much. If I pop this off, see those dots there? In reality, it should be, I think the third dot down should put me right on where I am. Don't ask me why I can't still see those when I pull up the G33. The G33 is only really supposed to magnify that sight. Anyway, that should be what's hitting me right about there. Should put me on target in reality. But you'll see I'm hitting the bottom of the rock there. And the reason is we have fairly significant bullet drop. If I shoot all the way up here, now I'm getting closer. That's the holdover I need, right about there, and that's where we're at. That's fairly significant holdover, to be honest. And let's see, I'll have to slow this down in reality, but one banana. That's a full second. One banana. Yeah, that's taking a full second for the travel there. When the bullet, if they're using realistic muzzle velocities, is traveling 950 meters. Okay, technically 945 meters per second is the listed muzzle velocity for a 5.56. I say about 950 because muzzle velocities will change based on altitude, ambient air temperature, ambient humidity, and numerous other factors which I really don't understand all of them and how they work. That's not my job, never was. But as somebody who has spent most of their professional life behind a gun of some sort, I find this to be underwhelming to say the least. Alright, so let's look at some others that we have here in my arsenal. This is, the Lapua, which if I bring it up, you'll see I'll gunsmith it here. It's a 338. That's accurate. 338 travels, again, pretty much that fast, a little bit faster. I think it's about 1,000 meters per second. You know what? Let's just fling some lead down range with that one, and you can have a look. I haven't actually used this one yet. So again, I'm shooting out to there. I'm gonna hold my breath, get a good on line, and still that's really significant muzzle drop. I think I have to shoot up to there. And okay, so that's with the suppressor on, which does slow down muzzle velocity. Let's take the suppressor off. We know where it is. You can actually watch the bullet fly out with the suppressor on. Suppressors don't do that, by the way. That's not realistic, but they didn't promise realistic suppressors. So, one banana. Okay, so you're still seeing a full second. So, honestly, muzzle velocities are not realistic. Muzzle velocities are half speed of realistic muzzle velocity. Let's do one more. Let's see. Okay, the M82, one of my favorite rifles in existence. Oh wait, I want to go back. Wrong one. Back. M82. Let's gunsmith this baby. So the M82 is the Barrett BMG, which is a 50 caliber uh, sniper rifle. It has, I think its listed effective range is 1,350 meters, though they've had kill shots out well past that with both this and the TAC 50. I didn't bring a TAC 50 along. It is equally disappointing, and the reason is right here on the screen. 50 caliber rifle, 338 ammo. Yep, you saw it here first, folks, or maybe not. This is all over the forums. This is all over the place. They have it as 338 ammo, even though it's a 50 caliber rifle. That's number one thing that I found really disturbing. And you pick up 338 ammo in the field, and that's what gets fed into this. So that's a major glaring error. One of several I've seen with this game in terms of realism. That's something really easy to get right. So muzzle velocity on this is just over 1,000 meters per second, which again, it should cover that distance in under half a second. One banana. This is what happens when you hold your breath too long. Apparently, gun swings all around. So let's do this again. Hold out over. One banana. So it's taking, as you see, a second to get 1 second to get all the way out there. Yep, not realistic speed. Okay, next one that I want to show you, because this one's been, I'm an HK guy. I like a lot of HK firearms. I know some people don't. It's a love-hate thing. You either love them or you hate them. I like HK firearms because primarily they design a firearm to do whatever job you want to do. Which is the other flip side of the problem with HK firearms is most of their firearms are overly engineered to a specific task. So you have to have the right firearm for the right job. But I've always liked them. I like their quality. I just like them. So we have an HK 516, and it's been killing me because there is no HK 516. I've been trying to figure out what the HK 516 is. I thought maybe HK was producing something. They had something in the works, something, futuristic, developmental. That's the word I'm looking for. Something developmental that was going to come out in a year or two. And then I look here, 7.62, and it's basically the body of, see the gas, the 416 glass block and all that. Yeah, so HK made a basically what was a 416 chambered in 7.62. They call it the 417. For some reason, this game calls it the 516. Don't ask me why. It's just one of those things that it really blows my mind. It's like I said, one of the glaring errors I thought they made here. The other one being in one of the loading scenes, you'll notice that on the shoulder of the operator standing there, he has like a wolf mask on, I think. And on his shoulder, you'll see an American flag. It's backwards. Something else that it's a really glaring error that with all the military people they say were working on this, they should have gotten that right. Okay, so let's look at Weaponsmith aside from some of the things they said were realistic that aren't. Okay, they promised more robust. I don't know how they defined more robust. Let me just start there, okay? I think when I heard more robust, my expectation was, now, my expectation does not match reality, and they are not bound by my expectations. However, my expectation was that we would have at least as many options as we did in Wildlands for modification of our firearms. Now, they did move, as you can see in the picture, the PEC 15 up to the top rail for selected sights, meaning you put the right optic on there, the 416 will move to the top rail, you change the optic, the 416 moves back to the side rail. I don't understand why. I think they should all have been on the top rail, them and the Maul that they have. I haven't found the Maul in the world yet, but I'm hoping to eventually. Um, and then I don't know which one I'll use. But there you have it. Uh, so you have really limited options here in any of these. As you can see, you're limited to really just a few. A couple compensators, flash hider, muzzle brake, which a muzzle brake and a compensator technically the same thing. Um, I'll leave that be. Rail things. I say you have a Maul DA. Can't wait to get one. Why you would put a rangefinder on an assault rifle, I really have no idea, but it's there. Of all the things they could have stuck there, brother, that one makes the least amount of sense to me. A different type of rail cover than the traditional rail cover, which I don't get that either. I haven't unlocked it, so don't worry about it. Let's see. Did sights, rails, under grip, which this one I really don't get. They don't have the soap mod grip, which is the standard issue that most people don't never move from for these angular things. It really looked to me like they cut into your fingers all the wrong times. You do have a square one here, the RVG vertical, which I think that's actually the Russian version, but whatever. You have a short shift, which they don't have the right optic in there, obviously. Then you have an underbarrel grenade launcher, which again they don't have the right optic in there yet, which makes sense. I haven't found those in World either. So yeah, there was I think that's the M203 they're showing there. So yeah, less options, less customization options. You don't have barrel, you don't have stock, you don't have trigger, which is all weird to me. But hey, you know. Okay, the one thing I do like, that I do think is a definite benefit is the mark upgrades here. So if you find a weapon that you like I like the 416. I've always liked 416 since the very first 416s came online. And you want to mod it, right? And what I mean by mod it is make it better. Faster reload speed, which is a real thing, man. You can, if you have a good weapons room, like a tier 1 guy would, and you can make a larger lever assisted mag release. You can make a larger lever assisted bolt release, which will speed up your reload. You can make a flared mag well, which will speed up your reload. Makes it a lot easier to jam those mags in there. Improved accuracy. Man, there are so many ways you can improve accuracy through gas block modifications and buffer spring modifications on a firearm, especially an inline recoil firearm, as the Stoner models are. Okay, M4s are made by Eugene Stoner. It's his whole thing was the inline system, so the recoil comes straight back, except for the muzzle blast, which that's a whole different story. And you can adjust some of that anyway. So it comes straight back, and what happens there is if you put your weight forward properly, you can, on one of these, you can basically keep the sights on target all the time. You'll have a minor oscillation from the muzzle blast, but it won't walk up, it won't climb up, if you're holding it right. So there's that. So you have that damage increase. Okay, that's a little odd. You're not going to get much damage increase on a firearm. Force equals mass times acceleration, and you're not going to improve the acceleration out of the barrel very much. There's only two things I know that do that really at a noticeable level, especially on a shorter barreled weapon like this. One is switching out the traditional barrel for a gain twist barrel. There's less friction at the beginning. The bullet gets more acceleration before it really starts to spin. It also doesn't deform the bullet as much, which gives it a better flight path, so it will fly a little faster, fly a little farther. But we're only talking like 1 to 3%. I think it's like 1 or 2%, which if you're, it'll increase your range more than it will your damage. It's not really going to give that much more acceleration into that whole equation we talked about, or change the way it dumps energy into a target. Range increases, again, there's a few ways you can do that. Nothing super significant, but still, I like the system. You have in Mark 1, you had a bunch of accuracy increases, one range increase, I think one damage increase, and a bunch of reload speed increases. And I haven't been able to get to Mark 3 yet and see that. Now, the final thing I'm going to talk about is when you do this, you'll notice it says here will be applied on all 416. So anytime you pick up a 416, and I don't know yet if this applies to the variants that you'll find. But anytime you pick up a 416, so if you really like this rifle, you go through all the upgrades, totally max out Mark III, make it so that any rifle you pick up off the ground that's a 416 gets the passive bonuses as well as all these bonuses. That will apply to any rifle you find throughout the game, which I think is, personally, I think that's really cool. Okay, so that's Weaponsmith. Overall, I'm going to say it, I'm underwhelmed. That's my opinion. Like it or love it, or not, or disagree. Drop a comment below if you disagree. I'd love to hear why. So until next time.